Scruffco proudly presents Storytime with Mitch.
Hello and welcome! This is Storytime with Mitch! And today I am reading a story that I can't read very well because it has made up names. Hansel and also Gretel. Those aren't names at all. Those are like heavy metal singer names. I don't get this. Anyway, let's look at the story. Once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far away, the evil Trade Federation had made drastic changes to the galactic economy. As such, a woodcutter needed to cut trees. For the sake of the evil Galactic Trade Federation. He lived alone with his 2 children because his wife ran out on him because she didn't want to live in the stupid woods when they were living in a world where there was a lot of starships and cool robots and stuff. Except for that gold one. He's very obnoxious. And those other ones from those Michael Bay movies, they're really annoying. Especially that orange one and that green one. I hate them. Anyway, the woodcutter went off to cut wood in the woods. He left his children at home all alone because he's a very irresponsible parent. Eventually, the kids decided to leave because in the woods, you don't have the internet. So they decided to walk out into the woods like a couple of idiots without any GPSs or cell phones or anything else that a normal, everyday child has these days. Because they were extra stupid, they decided that they would be able to find their way back by leaving a line of tomatoes. Which is not very smart because lots of animals like to eat tomatoes. They should have left a line of Butterfinger bars because nobody likes those. So they wandered around like idiots for a good amount of time because they're not very smart. But with their living in the woods, not having any education because their father cuts wood because of an evil trade federation, and they can't go to school because they live in the woods, and they don't have the internet, where they can't learn about cats and their importance to us and their relation to cheeseburgers. So they came upon a clearing where they discovered a house made entirely out of candy, which is kind of dumb. Because technically, it was not covered in candy, it was technically covered in ants. Because these kids are stupid, they walked right up to this giant mound of ants. And they were like, dude, look at this. I would totally post this on my Twitter if we had the internet. Meanwhile, inside there was a witch and she was plotting as she saw the children. There are children. I should probably eat them. Why? Because the evil Trade Federation took away her pod racer, and she had no other real means of making ends meet. So she was forced to cannibalism. So she somehow managed to get the children inside, despite the fact that her home was covered in various insects, consuming its sugary goodness. Inside the house, of course, it wasn't made of tasty treats. No! The inside of her house was made of newspapers and paper mache, which is very strange because the witch used to be a modern artist and would make lots of art, but it would make no sense, which I guess is the point of being a modern artist. So she threw a net over the children and was going to bake them in the oven when she realized that an oven made of paper mache is very flammable, and it was very stupid to do that, and the children ran out. Meanwhile, the smoke inside the candy house brought on the giant ant creatures, which devoured the house and the witch. The children ran and ran until eventually they stopped running and realized that their lives were a lie, just like Bill. The children ran and ran until they somehow found their way home through a loop of plot convenience, where they discovered that their father had stopped cutting down trees because he was arrested because they lived in a national forest where he shouldn't do things like that, and their father went to jail. The children eventually starved to death out by themselves in the forest.
You're scaring the children.
The children were happy ever after because they were taken in by child services and given to a much better family. The end. Thank you for this time. This has been Storytime with Mitch. Thank you.
No, over here, Mitch.
Oh, okay, I'll go over there.
See y'all next time on Storytime with Mitch. This episode of Storytime with Mitch was brought to you by Scruffco's famous penicillin bread.